everybody, and welcome to this edition of Burning Issues. It's the only program that gives you a glimpse inside the Wichita Fire Department. Coming up on this edition, we're going to take a look back at the significant incidents of 2015 and also explain to you all the ways your fire department has served you. Specifically, we're going to talk about new apparatus design, the decrease of fire fatalities in our community, statewide burn restrictions, Wichita Firefighters Customer Service Project, a strategic deployment study, Fire Prevention Week, new equipment that's been donated to the department to help save pets, and again we'll talk about a number of significant incidents which took place throughout 2015, highlighting the hard work and dangers that firefighters face when the alarm goes off. And now I'm happy to bring in Wichita Fire Chief Ron Blackwell. Chief, thanks for being here.
Good to be with you.
Well, I understand that you have some new apparatus you've been designing, and I think by that it means new equipment, new trucks.
Right, new equipment and new fire trucks are here. They've been delivered. We're in the process, a final preparation process of getting them ready to be utilized here in the community. We're fortunate that our community places a focus on public safety, and so ladder trucks are going to be added. One will replace an aging ladder that is currently in the downtown area, and then there will be additional ladder trucks provided on the east and west side of the city.
How many new trucks are you getting in total?
Well, this current delivery is 3.
Okay.
And we're really excited about that. Still a lot of work to do, getting them equipped, getting our firefighters trained, but it's always good to get new equipment and to stay on top of the business.
And do you guys struggle with an aging fleet? I mean, how important is it to have these new trucks?
Well, typically we place some attention on age, mileage, and maintenance as it relates to replacement. We've had some ladder trucks that are aging, and so those will be leaving, and then we're looking to enhance our ladder truck service on the east and west side of the city, and so this equipment will serve that purpose.
And for anybody who doesn't know what ladder truck service means, fill us in.
Well, you know, traditionally in fire departments, people talk about pumper trucks, and then there are ladder trucks. These 3 ladder trucks are somewhat unique. One is the traditional ladder truck that some people refer to as a cherry picker. It's got a big bucket on the front that can be used to reach up to 7 or 8 stories high. The other 2 ladder trucks come without the bucket, but will put us in a position where we can better serve the eastern and western edges of the city.
So as you guys are ordering the trucks, are you helping with the design of picking out which features you want?
Yeah, one of the things we do when we order new apparatus or begin to plan for it is we utilize a group of firefighters. Our employees are put together in a committee along with an apparatus manufacturer after funding decisions have been reached, and the firefighters have a lot of input as to what would meet their needs, in some cases where this equipment should be located. So yes, we do involve a large group of people in those kinds of decisions.
And speaking of new things, I understand you added some new firefighters to your ranks?
We did, since during my tenure as fire chief, we've continued to have a number of retirements, and so this past year there were 15 retirements, and so we had a recruit class to replace the 15 that are going out, and as the retirements continue, we'll continue to try to stay on top of staffing, and currently we're at a level where we're just below what we'd like to have, but we've got plans for an additional recruitment class during 2016.
All right, and I know another topic that's very important to you is reducing the number of fire fatalities in our community. You guys have been doing work to that end. Right,
absolutely. Last year, 2015, we had 3 fatal fires in the community, and would certainly say that one is too many, but when compared with 2014, which we had a double-digit fire fatality loss year, there were 11, and that included some multiple fatality incidents. But we've redoubled our efforts to inform the community about what occurs when there are fires involving fatalities or major incidents in specific neighborhoods. We send firefighters out probably, or more often than not, the shift after there's been a significant incident. Have them go door to door in the neighborhoods to provide information about what occurred and what our citizens and residents can do to hopefully avoid a reoccurrence.
And I know you guys also have a partnership with an organization that was new along those lines.
Well, you know, we're always looking for partnerships, and one of the more significant partnerships last year was with the American Red Cross, who stepped up and provided us some smoke alarms to be installed in neighborhoods across the city. We believe that was very successful, and as you know, we have a smoke alarm replacement project that we have here in the department, and those who feel a need to either have someone from the department come out and check their smoke alarm, perhaps help put together a fire escape plan, will continue to provide that service in 2016 as well.
And what number should they call?
They should call 268-4510, 268-4510, and arrange to have a member of the fire department or perhaps from the neighborhood fire station come out and help with installation or putting together an escape plan.
So Chief, as you think back on last year and you think about some of the significant events, which ones really stand out in your mind that you might want to highlight?
Well, there were a number of what we in the department would consider major fire incidents, and we'll begin with a fire at the Dollar General store, which was in the vicinity of Pawnee and Meridian. That was a fire that was a multiple alarm fire that brought several firefighters to the neighborhood. There is a Sonic restaurant there. This Dollar General store is located next to it. Required a significant commitment of resources to get that fire brought under control. There was also a major fire back in January at Air Gas Incorporated, which is in the 2000 block of Southwest Street. That incident particularly taxed our fire crews. We had what we would call a 3-alarm incident, which would have brought more than half of the city's available fire resources to that incident. There were significant risk to the firefighters during that incident. Several explosions. During that incident, one of our crews declared a mayday, which indicates that one of our members was lost or trapped. Fortunately for us, and due in large part to the training, and the training is constant, we were able to locate the lost firefighter, and there were no injuries. We also had a fire back in March of 15 at an apartment building in the 1300 block of West Walker. There was an occupant rescued from what we believe would have been certain death if not for the courageous work of our fire crews there. We also had 4 civilians receive serious smoke inhalation at that incident. That highlights just a few. There were many, but those 3 readily come to mind. And I would add that our crews are tenacious about training. It's constant. They do it all the time, and there were several instances last year where that training paid off.
Talk a little bit about your training center and how you guys help train other fire departments too.
Yeah, we annually have an incident that is called Wichita HOT, and HOT is an acronym for hands-on training, where firefighters from across the country come to Wichita generally in September and spend 2-3 days doing those things that keep us on top of the business. A number of the members of our department act as instructors, not only there, but at other places across the country. So we're really fortunate here. We have a very conscientious and dedicated group of fire professionals, and I'm thankful for that.
So after you have these significant incidents, does your department get together and review what happened and what went right, what went wrong? And do you have a process like that?
Yeah, we do. After every major or significant incident, whether that be fire or in some cases medical emergency, building collapse, water incident, we conduct what's called a post-incident analysis, where we bring all the crews that were involved and we go back and methodically look at what happened and what might be done to improve how we provided that service. And that will happen almost always, whether the incident ended well or not, because there are constantly things to learn about what we do and how we do it.
Chief, you were talking earlier about the contact that your firefighters have with residents, and I know you guys also do a lot of community outreach during Fire Prevention Week.
Right. It's always a big time in the fire department, and as you know, Laura Gill, Fire Prevention Week, or you may know, some of us fire geeks, if you will, know that Fire Prevention Week originated with President Roosevelt back in 1922, where he asked the country to pause and reflect on the need for fire safety. That's been something that has been going on within our fire department for years, and so annually in October, typically the week of October 9th, our firefighters get out in the community to really emphasize the importance of focusing on fire safety. The theme for Fire Prevention Week in 2015 was Hear the Beep Where You Sleep, which speaks to the importance of smoke alarms, and we've seen that here and know that those homes, typically those homes that are equipped with a working smoke alarm, are far more successful at having people escape safely in the event of fire. So we like to spend a lot of time talking about that. Also in 2015, we did our annual Zoo Day with the county, where we had about 5,000 fifth graders show up to receive some fire safety information, spend some time interacting with fire crews from the city, the county, McConnell, and other area fire departments. So Fire Prevention Week is a big time, but it's a good time.
Speaking of those partnerships, I know spring's right around the corner, and we're going to be talking about burn restrictions pretty quickly.
Well, you know, there are some concerns from the state, and we work with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment to help regulate, if you will, or place some restrictions on when open burning can take place because of its impact on the ozone and air quality throughout the region. So typically in the early spring, restrictions come up where we ask people to eliminate and avoid outdoor burning. We work very closely with the county because there's agricultural burning that needs to take place, but we'll continue to emphasize some of that this year going forward, the importance of restrictions as it relates to when open and outdoor burning takes place.
And wind is definitely a problem around here.
Wind can be a problem, and it was interesting for me to learn that our area is impacted by major cities that are south of Wichita, Oklahoma City and Dallas. We often, because of the prevailing southerly winds, are impacted by what happens in those areas.
And that's important because it affects our ozone levels, and we have to meet certain standards or we get fined.
Absolutely, and where we can avoid a fine, we're going to do what we can to do that.
And speaking of exciting partnerships, you have one that's helping out our four-legged friends.
Yeah, we are involved with the Fetch Foundation that has donated what are called Fido Bags to the department, and it's not something new for us. You know, we had a local provider some years ago, Invisible Fence, provided us a form of the Fido bag that is used to provide oxygen and some medical assistance for pets who are impacted by smoke at fire incidents. I believe there are national statistics that indicate as many as 40,000 pets last year had some kind of smoke inhalation related injury, and then there is a larger number of pets that die in fires every year. So we want to do what we can to help not only man's best friend, but any other pet that might have that need.
Yeah, really nice to have that generous donation.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about all the good, brave work that your men and women do for the department and the community.
Yeah, well, you know, every year we conduct what we call Medals Day, which is an opportunity for us to pause and reflect on the really good work that our people do. So on August 23rd of last year and every year, we stop to recognize those firefighters who have been involved in community service, those who have been involved in heroic or courageous action. In 2015, 59 firefighters were recognized for bravery and community service here in Wichita, and the recognition comes after a review of applications by a committee of their peers, which I think is really valuable to those who are selected. What is especially significant from last year is that one of our lieutenants, Rob Kanega, was selected by the Kansas State Fire Marshal's Office and the Kansas State Association of Fire Chiefs as the Kansas Firefighter of the Year for his heroic action at a South Wichita apartment fire. There he, without the assistance of a hose line, entered a burning and smoke-filled apartment and was able to successfully remove a woman who is alive today as a result of his good work. The Firefighter of the Year Award is named for Tom McGoy, who was the 8th Wichita Fire Chief. And Chief McGoy was killed along with 3 others in November of '68 at the Yingling Chevrolet fire. And so the Firefighter of the Year Award is named in his honor.
You have a long history of heroic firefighters.
We've got a great history and a ton of really, really good people.
And I know you guys are working hard to keep the community happy and work on customer service.
Right. You know, we think that we have a long and distinguished record of community service, but one of the city manager's initiatives, both last year and this year going forward, are to do the things that would improve upon what we believe is an impressive customer service record. So a lot of attention will be paid to how well we're doing as it relates to the services we provide, and not only the emergency service, but those things that often don't get much attention. If people have to visit a fire station for any reason, if someone has to come to City Hall and interact with our Fire Prevention Bureau, what things are we doing that provides a level of service that exceeds what an individual might expect?
And is that something you'll be measuring every year?
Well, we are putting some measurements in place now, and we've got some data. We want more data. I can tell you I've been impressed by what I've seen so far, but the amount of data right now is rather small, so we want to increase that, and then where we can improve, we will improve.
Okay. We've talked a lot about 2015, but what can we expect in 2016?
Well, one of our major initiatives going forward will be a study of our deployment. We're going to look to optimize where our equipment is assigned, what kinds of equipment is assigned, and we're going to utilize some services from the Hugo Wall School at Wichita State University. They're going to work with us and help us study where the equipment is it the right equipment that should be there, and a lot of attention will be focused on our emergency medical response. Right now, there are questions, we have questions about the amount of equipment that's dispatched for medical emergencies. So we'll be looking to identify some efficiencies, and that'll take several months to get done, but that'll be one of the major focuses on 2016.
You know, typically when you think about what firefighters do, you think of them putting out fires, but I think a lot of people probably don't realize that the majority of what you guys do is respond to medical emergencies.
Right. About 75% of our calls, 3 out of 4 calls, are medically related, and so there needs to be some focus on that, but we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that we continue to have fires. We do a pretty good job of confining fires to the room of origin. But there are also other incidents that are taking place related to vehicle collisions, and then there are a number of service activities that we provide. You know, during the winter months when pipes break or fire alarms sound across the city. We've got specialized crews that are out there that respond to and mitigate hazardous materials emergencies. We have a specialty rescue station where some of our bravest and brightest are assigned that get involved in issues related to water incidents, ice incidents, above ground incidents, high-rise incidents. So there are specialty firefighters assigned in the city. They'll continue to train, but they'll also be, like we all will, focused on our customer service in 2016.
As we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like the community to know? Well,
you know, I could talk about them all day, because they are really good at what they do, what we do. I'm certainly proud of them, and would hope that the community would recognize, though we do hear from a lot of folks about the things we do well, but if we're not doing it right or doing what's expected, we'd certainly want to know.
Well, Chief, thanks so much for being here with us today and filling us in on what happened in 2015 and all the exciting things to come for next year.
Well, thanks for having me, and it's been good to be with you.
All right. And that concludes this edition of Burning Issues. Thank you so much for watching. Our mission is to provide our community excellent proactive fire and life safety services through prevention, education, and protection. Remember, Wichita firefighters are highly trained professionals who are your friends and neighbors. They are Wichita's bravest, and they are somewhere serving you in many ways every day.